Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill news for Sunday. March 3rd, 2019. Wow. We had a big weekend. For everybody who got a chance to tune into the live streams, just a couple of quick updates. We had some excellent guests on Friday night. We had an opportunity for people to win a 1-ounce silver Trump round coin. Pretty awesome. If you want to check out and get your chance to win, then you could go check out the live stream from Friday night. Saturday night, we had a bit of a hiccup. I was trying to play a speech from Andrew Breitbart, and it accidentally ended up being a segment from a documentary. I had to take that video down. I had to delete that portion and then re-upload it. So that's in my regular videos, and it's under Saturday Night Live Stream Reloaded. We also had an introduction to the book that myself and Space Shot 76 were asked to create a chapter for. That has done extremely well. It's in the top trending section on Amazon, and it is about to dethrone Andrew McCabe's Book of Lying Lies, if it hasn't already. First of all, here from the Gateway Pundit, Representative Devin Nunes says that AG Barr has until March 15th to report out on crooked deep state hacks Weissman and Ahmad. And we do have a video. Representative Devin Nunes has joined Maria Bartiromo on Sunday Morning Futures this morning. Nunes discussed the recent letter Freedom Caucus members Representative Mark Meadows and Representative Jim Jordan sent to Attorney General Bill Barr. According to Rep. Nunes, Attorney General Bill Barr has until March 15th to respond to their requests. AG Barr has until March 15th to disclose information on Weissman and Ahmad's conflicts on the special counsel. Let's go ahead and take a listen. Nunes says, so Weissman is the number 2. He's Mueller's deputy. He was involved in the custody of the dossiers. In early 2016, he was given the dossier. He is someone, along with the other one mentioned there, both DOJ people, both on the Mueller team. They shouldn't be involved in this investigation. There's clear regulations that DOJ has. You can't be conflicted. Look, did they disclose before Mueller picked them that they were involved in the custody of the dossier? We know these two individuals were involved in the custody of important evidence, dirt from the Clinton campaign that is the basis for the entire hoax. These are not independent investigators. These are people who were in on it from the beginning. We also have information that Weissman was meeting with reporters, and this is the part of the whole disinformation campaign. You had also had the Department of Justice and the FBI who were briefing reporters. What was Weissman doing talking to AP reporters? We asked those questions, and we never got those answers. Maria responds, Jordan and Meadows want this information from the Attorney General by March 15th at 5 p.m. This is amazing. Without Devin Nunes, we never would have known about this deep state coup against this president. Devin Nunes deserves a presidential medal for exposing this coup. Nunes is an American hero. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
And Jim Jordan sent to the Attorney General William Barr. And basically they are asking for a number of things from the AG. And they mention in particular Andrew Weissman and Zainab Ahmad. These are two individuals that worked at the Department of Justice and now work at the special counsel's office. Can you tell me about Andrew Weissman and Zainab Ahmad?
So Weissman is the number 2. It's Mueller's deputy. He was involved in the custody of the dossier. So in early 2016, he was given the dossier. This is somebody, him and the other individual that's mentioned there, both DOJ people, both on the Mueller team. They shouldn't be involved in this investigation. I don't know. Well, and the questions that my colleagues are asking is that there's clear regulations that DOJ has that, you can't be conflicted. And so they're asking questions. Look, did they disclose to Mueller before Mueller picked them that they were involved in the chain of custody of this dossier? Because I will tell you, if I was, I don't know that they're going to have any, criminal indictments or not. But if I was any attorney, I'd be saying, look, these people that are bringing this forward, they shouldn't be involved in this because they're biased. We already know the people that were kicked off for bias. But you also have the fact that these two individuals that Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows are asking about were involved in the chain of custody of important evidence, the dossier, the dirt from the Clinton campaign, that is the basis for this entire hoax.
This is important because for a long time I've been asking the question, can the Robert Mueller special counsel report have credibility if it doesn't look at what we know to have been wrongdoing? by this cabal of people at the top of the FBI. So Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows writes to Bill Barr, and they say this. Number one, we would like you to identify all actions taken by Weissman and Ahmad, including disclosures, to apprise the department or the special counsel's office of their role in the events Bruce Orr testified to about supplying the FBI with information relating to the Trump campaign. So they also want to explain all the actions taken by Weissman and Ahmad after learning that Steele, Simpson, and Nellie Orr were providing Bruce Orr information for the purpose of relaying it to the FBI. Provide all documents and communications referring or relating to disclosures made by Weissman and Ahmad, and provide documents and communications related to the process the department used to evaluate prosecutors and investigators' independence. So they're right now still working on the special counsel's investigation. Robert Mueller.
They're not independent investigators. These are people that were in on this from the beginning. They knew about the dossier. They brought this dossier forward. I don't know if they told. Maybe they told Mueller. Mueller decided to waive these requirements that are there. Also, let's not forget. We also have evidence that at one time that Weissman was meeting with reporters. And, so you have this, and this is part of this whole disinformation campaign. I should have said this earlier. It's not just the media. It's not just that they were getting it from the Clinton campaign. You also had people within the Department of Justice and the FBI that were briefing reporters. Now, what on earth are you doing briefing reporters? What was Weissman doing talking to AP reporters? Right? We've asked those questions and never got the answers.
Yeah. Well, it's a good point that you make. Jordan and Meadows want this information from the AG by March 15th at 5 p.m. I want to take
questions, never got the answers.
Yeah. Well, it's a good point that you make. Jordan and Meadows want this information from the AG by March 15th at 5 p.m. I want to take a short break, but we've got more to cover here.
First of all, I love that she called it a cabal. Okay, Maria Bartiromo is woke AF. She knows what's going on. She is one of those people that is getting information. You've got to think that that is correct. I mean, at least I do. I think that's got to be correct. The other thing is that Devin Nunes is again asking the important questions. Were these conflictions disclosed to Mueller? Is it on purpose? Were they allowed to be part of the investigation so that they could be trapped in their own evil spiderweb? I don't know, but I am certainly watching to find out. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next story. Now, next, some more Devin Nunes news from the Daily Caller. Michael Cohen totally debunked the Steele dossier in congressional testimony. Former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen totally debunked the infamous Steele dossier in his congressional testimony last week, GOP California Rep. Devin Nunes claimed in an interview on Sunday. It was totally debunked this week, and it will totally be debunked next week, Nunes, the top Republican on the House Intelligence Committee, said of the dossier in a Fox Sunday Morning Futures interview. Cohen was interviewed in private by the House Intelligence panel last Thursday and will appear for a second round of questioning on Wednesday. Last Wednesday, Cohen dealt a severe blow to the Democrat-funded dossier by disputing under oath one of the document's key claims. In the 35-page report, former British spy Christopher Steele claimed that Cohen visited Prague in August 2016 to meet with Kremlin officials as part of a conspiracy to release emails hacked from Democrats in order to influence the 2016 campaign. Well, Cohen shot down the allegation at the hearing. "I've never been to Prague. I've never been to the Czech Republic," he said. Cohen also testified that he saw no evidence that Donald Trump colluded with Russians. Cohen was great for Republicans. He was great for Donald Trump because we now know that the dossier was total bunk. There was no truth to it. And we know that because Cohen has now testified publicly that he wasn't in Prague and there was no truth to anything in the dossier, Nunes told Fox's Maria Bartiromo. No collusion, no conspiracy, no obstruction. Cohen also poured cold water on the dossier's salacious allegation that the Russian government is blackmailing President Trump with a videotape of him with prostitutes in a Moscow hotel room in 2013. "I have no reason to believe a tape exists," Cohen testified on Wednesday. Cohen will begin serving a 3-year prison term on May 6th, will appear for a second closed-door interview with the House Intelligence Committee on Wednesday. He testified before the committee on Thursday and appeared behind closed doors for a session with the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence last Tuesday. Now, Nunes said that the House Democrats want to keep Cohen's testimony private in order to prevent the public from seeing Cohen debunk the collusion narrative. This is why they don't want him outside. They want him behind closed doors so that we can't talk about the testimony, Nunes said. Now, another thing that Cohen directly debunked was BuzzFeed's assertion that there was direct evidence showing that President Trump asked Cohen to lie during his testimony. Jason Leopold, I believe his name was, and his co-author claimed to have seen actual emails between Cohen and the president, which show the president telling Cohen to lie in his testimony. Well, Cohen directly testified in his testimony here before the committee that there is no evidence because it does not exist. He was never told by President Trump to lie. He may have inferred that President Trump wanted him to lie, but that is a completely different assertion from saying that there is actual evidence showing that the president asked him to do so. The thing is that the president never asked, he never inferred, he never needed to, because none of these things are real. It's all a fantasy created by the Democrats, and they have railroaded Michael Cohen because, as I reported over the weekend, his wife was threatened with a 30-year prison sentence because of his lying about financial stuff when he was trying to get loans. So, very unfortunate, but until that point, Michael Cohen was 100% for President Trump. If it wasn't for that, then the Democrats would have nothing to have him testify about right now. Michael Cohen is making things up on the fly. He is doing anything he can to call the president a liar, to say that, he did these things with Russia, even though he never did. Michael Cohen has been incentivized to perjure himself, and I think that's why we see him doing such a spectacular job at that. Now, this is some amazing news. This is from The Hollywood Reporter, not somebody I would normally use as a source, but someone in a brilliant move put up an anti-CNN billboard, and it appears right next to CNN's Hollywood headquarters. Look at this. Keep Korea divided because Orange Man bad. Communist News Network. Oh, my God. Jeff Zucker. A quote from Jeff Zucker. Oh. The billboard at the corner of Sunset and Cohenega? I don't know how to say that. The billboard at the corner of Sunset and Cohenega next to CNN's Los Angeles office building. God, that must have cost a lot of money, but totally worth it. A conservative group of street artists labeled the cable channel run by Jeff Zucker the Communist News Network. A billboard that criticized CNN and its president, Jeff Zucker, over a perceived liberal bias, sprang up Friday directly across the street from the news network's headquarters in Hollywood. The billboard at the corner of Sunset and Cohenega features Zucker's face and the faux title, CEO, CNN PC. And refers to CNN as the Communist News Network. The main message reads, "Keep Korea divided." Before Friday morning, the giant billboard was being used to advertise a marijuana dispensary, but it has been altered by a small band of conservative street artists who go by the name The Faction, and it is the third time in 6 weeks the group has attacked a TV channel owned by AT&T's Warner Media. In January, The Faction criticized Bill Maher, and a month after that, it was John Oliver, both of whom host shows on HBO. In those attacks, the entertainers were labeled NPC, which in video game parlance means non-playable character, though in conservative circles it refers to a robotic liberalism allegedly displayed by mainstream journalists. Again, nothing alleged about it. One of The Faction's members told The Hollywood Reporter that the critical CNN billboard is related to its coverage of President Donald Trump's summit with North Korea dictator Kim Jong-un. CNN had no comment. When Trump speaks glowingly of Kim Jong-un, it's a tactic, says a member of The Faction, which remains anonymous. Zucker and his journo activists know this, but are more than willing to try to torpedo the summit. The future of the long-suffering North and South Korean people be damned. Trump's summit had been taking place in Vietnam, and the president and his mission was to get North Korea to disarm its nuclear weapons and drop its ambitions for more of them. The talks broke down Thursday without an agreement. The Faction first made a name for itself in August when it peppered the Hollywood Walk of Fame with dozens of phony Trump stars in an attempt to replace his real one, which activists have destroyed on numerous occasions. Criminals have destroyed them. Now, update, at 2:35 Pacific time, the anti-CNN billboard remained for about 7 hours before it was removed. Oh, that is so beautiful. Oh, that is amazing. The thing is that you drive by that and you see Keep Korea Divided with the picture of Jeff Zucker and CNN right there, and it looks real. This is the kind of thing that CNN does. Why would anybody be surprised to see that driving down Hollywood Boulevard? Oh, that's amazing. Oh, Hopefully, the faction is going to keep doing stuff like this. I'm going to keep an eye on them for you. Now, in a real sucker move, Rand Paul will vote against Trump's national emergency declaration. Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul said he will vote against a resolution in an attempt to terminate President Donald Trump's national emergency for border wall funding. Paul will join a group of 3 Republicans who have expressed their concerns with Trump's declaration for a national emergency, saying they do not believe the president should be allowed to override Congress to such a degree. I can't vote to give extra constitutional powers to the president, Paul said to the Bowling Green Daily News Saturday. I can't vote to give the president the power to spend money that hasn't been appropriated by Congress, he continued. We may want more money for border security, but Congress didn't authorize it. If we take away these checks and balances, it's a dangerous thing. He was speaking to the Warren County Republican Party. In the group are Republican Senators Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Tom Tillis of North Carolina, and Susan Collins of Maine. The Rhino Squad. As a U.S. Senator, I cannot justify providing the executive with more ways to bypass Congress, Tillis wrote in an op-ed for the Washington Post, Compost. As a conservative, I cannot endorse a precedent that I know future left-wing presidents will exploit to advance radical policies that will erode economic and individual freedoms. Murkowski said Tuesday she would vote for the resolution, making it clear that the bill will pass the Senate due to support from these Republicans. There she is, the one that Dianne Feinstein was intimidating in the hallway. Collins said Wednesday that she supports a lawsuit challenging Trump's national emergency, adding that she plans to vote for the congressional resolution. Democrats in the House of Representatives introduced the resolution Friday to block Trump's national emergency that could allow him to build a wall at the southern border. Democratic Texas Representative Joaquin Castro introduced the resolution, which he said will pass the House, as 222 co-sponsors have jumped on board. Castro sent out a tweet saying his resolution would terminate Trump's national emergency. Democrats only need 218 supporters to pass the resolution. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi sent a letter to her colleagues Thursday telling them they need to move swiftly to pass this bill. This comes just days after Democratic Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, a 2020 hopeful, listed a number of issues for which she would declare a national emergency if elected president, including climate change, gun violence, and student loan debt. Right off the top, that's what we ought to be working on. Trump will still have the option to veto the resolution if passed by the Senate, and we know he's going to. Now, what I want to know is, where were all these people that were concerned about passing emergency resolutions, national emergency resolutions when Obama was in office? Obama called a national emergency on many occasions. The man seemed to have a golden hand. He could wave it in the air and could get whatever he wanted passed, but he couldn't get anything through for the American people. No, that was too much. Only things that were in the interest of himself and his friends and in business cohorts, or his controllers and puppet masters, shall I say. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that the first day of spring is coming up. That's right, the spring equinox. Now, it's going to fall this year on Wednesday, March 20th. All right, so on Wednesday, March 20th, equinox will have equal amounts of dark and light. It will be perfectly split down the middle. But it begins the procession into spring where we have dark to light, more dark than light. Now, it's very important also because it has a full moon that comes that day. So this is going to be the first time in nearly 40 years that the spring equinox will occur on the same day as March's full worm moon. The last time these two events landed on the same day was March 20th of 1981, though they did come close again in March of 2000. But that's not all. March's full moon will also be a supermoon, meaning that it will be slightly larger and brighter than most of the other full moons of this year. So again, dark to light. Now, what does the equinox mean? The word equinox comes from the Latin words for equal night. On the equinox, the length of day and night is nearly equal in all parts of the world, but with this equinox enjoying the increasing sunlight hours with earlier dawns and later sunsets, we will end up having dark to light, more light than dark. It's just what happens with the seasons. Now, on the March equinox, the sun will cross that celestial equator from south to north. It's called the celestial equator because it's an imaginary line in the sky above the Earth's equator. So this is going to be a big day for the Moloch worshippers, the pagans in the world. But it's also going to be a big day for the Alliance and our favorite Anon and the team that is behind the president. I think that the president is going to be using these pagans' own special days and holidays, as he has been all along, to deliver these giant blows and to continue to poke holes in their narrative. Now, we've got that date, March 18th, coming up. Another date shortly thereafter that could be very important is March 22nd, 3/22, Skull and Bones. Maybe something good will be happening on that date that will deliver a large blow to them. But we are reminded in our upcoming posts that just because there's a date doesn't mean that something is always going to happen. We've got some very important information that's come out from our favorite Anon, so let's go ahead and take a look at these posts. We had tons of posts come through in the middle of the night and then throughout the day today. So the first one right here is a tweet from George Papadopoulos. And George says that Clapper has gone awfully silent since his month-long adventure in Australia, where he discussed how to cover up both his and Australia's involvement in spying on me and others. Remember his testimony to Congress. I never heard of Papadopoulos. Well, his perjury is going to come back to haunt him. And our favorite Anon says, rat bait, stay in the light. And we've got a little thing here about the Five Eyes. From July 3rd, 2018, normally intelligence passed from one member of the Five Eyes Alliance, which is Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the UK, and the US, to another member, comes through an official channel for intelligence sharing. However, Nunes, upon reviewing the document that formally launched the FBI's investigation, said there was no intelligence shared through that official channel, meaning that the intelligence was shared through unofficial means. And right here on May 10th, our favorite Anon actually laid that out for us. Read below slow and carefully. Five Eyes. Why do former dignitaries still hold security clearance? U.S. to U.S. Logged, flagged, recorded. U.S. in New Zealand. No logs, no flags, no records. U.S. secret clearance authorized Five Eye view and doc take. Read above slow and carefully. Why do we allow former dignitaries security clearance? Welcome to the deep state. That's the reason right there. Because they are part of the deep state, and with this Five Eyes arrangement, they can operate outside of the normal channels, and it leaves absolutely no records. So that post right there is reposted, and then there is another from April 15th, reread Five Eyes, avoid U.S. data collection laws. Hussein, public, dossier, FISA. Not public, Five Eyes, UK, Australia, POTUS targeting, using pushed Russian decoy meetings, campaign insertions. Hussein, HRC, Loretta Lynch, John Brennan, John Clapper, National Security, White House, Situation Room, OP, UK, Australia, assist in the setup. Now, again, repost long list of conspirators in the Spygate Russia hoax. That same post right there, and then we've got another one which has quite a bit of information. Now this, again, is going through and naming everyone who is involved in this operation. And it shows you a flowchart. It shows you exactly how it goes through. All of these different names, who they are connected to, and where it goes. So go ahead and take a look at this. I am going to leave this in the description below. And you can see for yourself, it's a flowchart for how this deep state operation took place. Now, the next post, 2922, FISA declassification incoming. Right there, that's all it is. Now, next, March Madness incoming. Then, next, a presidential order on Carter Page, FISA declass and release of incriminating texts, a proof. Right there, on September 15th, we had our favorite Anon tell us that this week would be the declass coming, the declass order, dark to light. 2 days later, we have a statement from the press secretary, Sarah Sanders, talking about the declassification. How could our favorite Anon have known that the declass was coming? Well, it's because he's right there with POTUS. Now, repost of impact of Carter Page FISA declassification. Remember, this is what's going to happen. The declass of the FISA will initiate the resignation, recusal, and or removal of Rod Rosenstein. Declass of FISA will initiate the awareness that all signers will be currently under investigation. Declass of FISA will factually demonstrate without argument the U.S. government, under Hussein, knowingly presented false evidence to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court in an effort to obtain legal U.S. intelligence, umbrella surveillance of POTUS, the identified target, for the sole purpose of influencing the 2016 election of the presidency. Not Russia, but it was Hussein and HRC. The fact that they are saying it was Russia, this is projection of their own guilt. Safeguard against possible loss of power. This was their firewall that they were hoping to use to maintain power. Use of the back channel, surveillance and spy insertion. Body 1, 2, and 5 by the UK and Australia. Australia was primary, it says. Activated under Director Brennan, Director Clapper, with the presidential daily briefings, regular updates, and the live streaming of the Situation Room. White House Hussein non-Oval Office Situation Room coordination. FISA, full, brings down the House. White House. Huge happenings coming. Yes. Oh, it is happening this month. Spygate. They were spying on Trump before he announced his candidacy on June 16th, 2015. So it was a friend of mine on Twitter that actually posted this on the board. Furious Curious. You can check that out. On my profile, I tweeted out the tweet that he made or she made of their original post on the board. But they note that this picture is from early 2015, months before POTUS went down the escalator. Five Eyes was in play long before we have been saying, and then says, prove me wrong. Now, our favorite Anon actually confirms it by saying physical landscape plus or minus proves it could not have been taken pre-2016. But actually, there's a correction next, and they meant post-2016. Meaning the op was active pre-announcement. They were actually in this operation well before that. The initial awareness was pre-2016. Now, right here in in this image from 2015, this is Lisa Page and Peter Strzok right here. Now, there's some other people here. We don't know who they are, but it's been speculated that perhaps this white-haired individual here could be John McCain. In the next post, Hillary campaign and fake news prompted Trump because they had an insurance file. So, it was known what was happening with the deep state, but this trip happened in 2016. Nope. POTUS formally announced his candidacy on June 16th, 2015. Why did the HRC campaign actively work to push POTUS as the right candidate for the GOP? Because they had this insurance policy. They had the plan, the operation already in action. Why did the HRC campaign publicly attack POTUS's opponents? Because this was their Pied Piper strategy, as we know from the email releases. Why did the HRC campaign want POTUS to be the nominee? Because they never thought she would lose. Did the fake news play along? Think pre-nominee. What setup insurance file was created assuming POTUS would become the nominee? POTUS 1, Cruz 2. Was Cruz the target of a separate illegal spy campaign? I think the answer is yes. Right there, we're going to find out soon. FISA declassification will destroy their last stand and pave the way for the John Huber indictments. So, right here we have an embedded post from our favorite Anon. This is from the 3rd of March right here. Oh, actually, right here we have an embedded post with looks like it was by our favorite Anon, but without the trip code. So maybe this was from a different device that they were unable to sign in with the trip code. D-Class will destroy their last stand, Schumer and Pelosi. FISA will be the start and prepare the public for Huber outside the kill box. FISA equals start. FISA equals immediate confirmation of illegal acts regarding signers. FISA equals immediate confirmation start of Hussein's spy campaign to rig an election was based on false info. FISA equals implicates HRC and the Democratic Party as feeders of false info with the intent of securing the mainstream media plus blast insurance. FISA equals implicates senior members of the UK, MI5, 6, SIS, US Intel, White House, Five Eyes, Republican Party, Congress and Senate of known corruption in effort to retain power and rig the election, plus safeguard events by political kill to act while in power, given mainstream media fake push of the Russia narrative. FISA equals ties the mainstream media heads, the TV behind the corporate people, to the Democratic Party and other foreign heads of state in a co-op strategy. FISA brings down the House. FOIA does not include FISA. Declassed by POTUS, key parts that factually demonstrate the dirty fake dossier was used as primary source to secure highest level of intel spying on primary Republican opponent, plus post-election intel assets for domestic spying on the President of the United States for the office of the Presidency of the United States of America. Logical thinking. Public awareness, FISA spying, foundation built by Huber. No spelling errors intended, mobile unknown if above. Just to let us know. Now, typo in the previous drop. Right here, this is that correction showing that it could not have been taken post-2016. Think 2015, long day. Our team right here is working in overtime. And again, optics are important. Mueller report, FISA D-class, OIG report, John Huber, and then the Paine. They repost that proof right there with the D-class and then the announcement from the White House, Sarah Sanders. Important to remember, POTUS already ordered the D-class per Q proof September 17th. He's awaiting the DOJ, IG, now Barr and OIG, to proceed with the order. Optics are important. Design, delay by design, post-order to D-class, tactics, benefits, Rod Rosenstein, or we get these people out. The Freedom Caucus was founded on January 26, 2015. Trump announced his candidacy 5 months later. Now, our favorite Anon is asked, was POTUS recruited later in the campaign? According to his timeline, according to this timeline, DJT was a loose cannon. Think formation of the Freedom Caucus. Think Freedom Caucus today. Think Jim Jordan. Think Mark Meadows. And then there is spaces right. Are Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows part of the team that asked POTUS to run for president? The mass distribution of Q's drops explains why pointing out typos is necessary. Someone said that we understood with regard to that mistake. Roger that, Anon. Mass distribution of messages creates the need to correct. Now, next. Repost. Obama admin clowns with spying on everyone. Trump, Cruz, Congress, and Senate. Check number 2657. Huge. When will the public discover that Ted Cruz was also illegally surveyed? Pre-POTUS and Republican nomination. Clowns illegal surveillance. Members of Congress. Clowns illegal surveillance. Members of the press. Clowns illegal surveillance, Senate Intel Committee. And here is an article from September 2016, Senate Investigation Constitutional Crisis, Daniel Jones. Next, we stand together. This is only 1:24 a.m. last night, you guys. Sheep no more, dark to light. We stand together, where we go one, we go all. So this looks like, is that in German right there? No more fake news. Jerry Nadler, Democrat, attempting new blockade now that Mueller insurance policy is expiring. Nadler announces sweeping document requests. When the original insurance policy expires, Mueller, and you must attempt to protect those in harm's way by reapplying the blockade, plus maintain leftist hatred and fake news narrative, you request a bunch of documents and do another fake investigation. Nadler announces sweeping document requests, says Trump obstructed justice. Yeah, grasping at straws. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler, who would oversee any impeachment proceedings against President Trump, announced that he will submit more than 60 document requests to the White House and Justice Department on Monday, a barrage that Nadler called the opening salvo in new and wide-ranging investigations. Without naming Nadler, Trump tweeted late Sunday morning that he was being persecuted by some very bad, conflicted, and corrupt people in a witch hunt that is illegal and should never have been allowed to start, and only because I won the election. Truer words never spoken. Congressional Democrats have repeatedly promised to exercise tight oversight of the Trump administration since securing a majority in the House of Representatives in last November's midterms. But Nadler's comments signaled clearly that Democratic leaders are no longer counting on Special Counsel Robert Mueller's forthcoming report on possible Russian collusion to contain damning evidence against the Trump administration. Tomorrow, we will be issuing document requests to over 60 different people and individuals from the White House to the Department of Justice, Donald Trump Jr., the Trump Organization CFO, Alan Weisselberg, to begin the investigations to present the case to the American people about obstruction of justice, corruption, and abuse of power, Nadler said on ABC News This Week. He added that the goal of the probe was to present the case to the American people about obstruction of justice, corruption, and abuse of power. Now, asked by anchor George Stephanopoulos whether he thinks Trump obstructed justice in the Russia investigation, Nadler replied, "Yes, I do. I think it's very clear that the president obstructed justice." Well, if that was the case, then he would be being brought up on charges after the special counsel's investigation. It's just not true. The evidence, Nadler maintained, was that Trump called the Mueller probe a witch hunt, allegedly trying to protect fired National Security Advisor Michael Flynn from being investigated by the FBI, and supposedly admitted that he had fired FBI Director James Comey to stop the Russian thing in an NBC interview. In the NBC interview, contrary to Nadler's claim, Trump did not say that he had fired Comey to stop the Russia thing, and instead insisted he had fired Comey for incompetence, which he certainly was guilty of. But he acknowledged that the Russia probe was on his mind. But regardless of recommendation from the Justice Department, I was going to fire Comey, knowing that there was no good time to do it. And in fact, when I decided to do it, I said to myself, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story. It's an excuse by the Democrats for having lost an election that they should have won, Trump told anchor Lester Holt. Trump added, as far as I'm concerned, I want that thing to be absolutely done properly. When I did this now, I said I probably maybe will confuse people. Maybe I'll expand that. I'll lengthen the time because it should be over with. It should, in my opinion, should have been over with a long time ago because all it is an excuse. But I said to myself, I might even lengthen out the investigation. But I have to do the right thing for the American people. He's the wrong man for that position. So right.
We are starting this investigation. Tomorrow, we will be issuing document requests to over 60 different people and individuals from the White House to the Department of Justice, Donald Trump Jr., Allen Weisselberg, to begin the investigations to present the case to American people about obstruction of justice, corruption, and abuse of power.
So that would include John Kelly, the former chief of staff, Don McGahn, the former White House counsel?
I would imagine. I don't have the list in front of me, but we will be releasing the list tomorrow of over 60 entities, people.
Nadler knows who he's going to be sending out the document request to. Anybody who's ever had contact with Donald Trump, anyone who was ever involved with his administration, anyone that he can possibly think of, because Nadler is really, really grasping at straws. He is full of hot air. He knows the president has done nothing wrong. And the White House has denied that Trump ever told Comey to curtail its investigation into Flynn, who later pleaded guilty in Mueller's probe to making a false statement to 2 FBI agents, even though he never did. In a memo, Comey wrote that Trump had told him in the White House, I hope you can see your way to letting this go, to letting Flynn go. He's a good guy. I hope you can let this go. When pressed by Stephanopoulos as to whether Nadler would accept a possible report by Mueller finding no improper or illegal collusion by the Trump campaign with Russia, Nadler suggested he would not, and then proceeded to unload a litany of unrelated complaints against the White House. We'd want to see the evidence behind that and see the validity of that, and we can agree to disagree, Nadler began. But this investigation goes far beyond collusion. We've seen all the democratic norms that we depend on for democratic government attacked by the administration. No, we have seen everything about our republic, our constitutional republic, stomped and trampled upon by people like you, Jerry Nadler. Among those attacks, Nadler claims, were Trump's purported assault on the freedom of the press. BS. We've seen attacks on the Department of Justice, attacks on the FBI, attacks on judges. He's intimidated witnesses in public. No, he hasn't. Nadler added that the Mueller investigation, number 1, we don't know when it's ending, despite lots of rumors. Number 2, it's focused on specific crimes, and we have to focus much more broadly on abuses of power. In response, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy said on This Week that Nadler had decided to impeach the president the day the president won the election. So true. Listen to exactly what he said. He talks about impeachment before he even became chairman, and then he says, you've got to persuade people to get there, McCarthy said. There's nothing that the president did wrong. Nadler, in recent weeks, even hired 2 veteran lawyers and Trump critics as the committee gears up to investigate the department and review Mueller's final conclusions. The lawyers, Barry Berkey and Norman Eisen, have been retained on a consulting basis. Republican representatives immediately cried foul, saying the lawyers are political operatives who has no business conducting a supposedly fair and impartial investigation. The GOP also raised questions as to who was paying for the lawyers and how much. Nadler's committee also has called in the former acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker and plans to question him again in the coming weeks. Whitaker is a close Trump ally who had criticized the Mueller report before he was appointed. William Barr has since been confirmed as the Attorney General. The Judiciary Committee isn't the only House panel planning to look into Trump aggressively. Massachusetts Democratic Rep. Richard Neal, the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, is expected to eventually try to obtain Trump's tax returns, which the president has refused to release. But for now, Neal is taking it slow. The law says the Treasury chief shall furnish the requested information to members of the committee for them to examine behind closed doors. But reality is more complicated, and the request could end up in a lengthy court battle between Congress and the administration. Last month, Neal had a hearing in which experts discussed the authority under current law for Neal to make a request for any tax returns to the Treasury Secretary. The hearing also examined proposals to compel presidents and presidential candidates to make years of their tax returns public. Meanwhile, the head of the House Financial Services Committee, California Rep. Maxine Waters, has focused on Deutsche Bank, the German asset management firm that has loaned Trump's real estate organizations millions of dollars over the years. She said this past week that the bank is cooperating with requests for documents. And the House Intelligence Committee is reopening and expanding an investigation into Russian interference into the 2016 election that the Republican majority closed last year because they found nothing. At that time, Republicans said over Democratic objections that there was no evidence to show that Trump's campaign colluded or conspired with Russia. The top Democrat on the committee then, California Rep. Adam Schiff, said Republicans had prematurely closed the matter without interviewing key witnesses and demanding important documents. Schiff is now chairman, and last month he announced a broad new investigation looking not only at Russian interference, but also at Trump's foreign financial interests. Schiff said the investigation will include the scope and scale of Russian intervention in the 2016 presidential election, the extent of any links and any coordination between Russians and Trump's associates, whether foreign actors have sought to hold leverage over Trump or his family and associates, and whether anyone has sought to obstruct any of the relevant investigation. Of course, any of that will not include Democrats. The committee interviewed former Trump personal attorney Michael Cohen in private on Thursday and will finish the interview this coming Wednesday. After Cohen left, Schiff announced that the committee will hold an open hearing later this month with Felix Sater, a Russian-born executive who worked with Cohen on an ultimately unsuccessful deal to build a Trump Tower in Moscow. Speaking on CBS's Face the Nation on Sunday, Schiff asserted that there is direct evidence of improper collusion. I think there is direct evidence through emails from Russians offering dirt on Hillary for Russian effort to help elect Donald Trump, Schiff said. Trump Tower, all the lies to cover up that meeting, there is circumstantial evidence. What about the evidence that the Democrats and Hillary Clinton directly helped in setting up that meeting in order to entrap the president and try to get him into doing some type of crime? We will also have to look at the whole body of improper and criminal actions by the president, including those campaign finance crimes, to determine whether they rise to the level of removal from office. Trump has called Schiff Little Adam Schiff and maintains that the new probes he is leading are politically motivated. Yes, they are. Trump has called, additionally, the House Oversight Committee has set a Monday deadline for the White House to turn over documents related to security clearances after the New York Times reported that the president ordered officials to grant his son-in-law Jared Kushner's clearance over the objections of national security officials. Speaking to Fox News Sunday, National Security Advisor John Bolton said he wasn't worried about the issue. I don't have any concerns, Bolton said. I deal with Jared all the time on the Middle East peace process and a number of other issues. I trust him. I have no idea what the story on the security clearance. If something that falls within my area of responsibility, it's not something that falls within my area of responsibility. But if asked, do I trust Jared Kushner? The answer is yes. So we can see here clearly the Democrats are just grasping at whatever possible thing they can, whatever is in their power to extend this investigation, to create new investigations, to look at things that have already been closed. When the original insurance policy expires, Mueller and you must attempt to protect those in harm's way by reapplying the blockade and maintain leftist hatred and fake news narrative. You start a bunch of new investigations, just as Schiff and Nadler are doing. Now, the next post. When do you play the Trump card? At what stage in the game do you play the Trump card? You play it when you need it to win. Now, this is a methodical plan moving ahead step by step with military precision. Why have there been no arrests? Why have specific dates been mentioned only to see no action? Define game theory. Why must disinformation be provided? Define open source. Define public purview. Do we let our enemies walk through the front door? Define plausible deniability. Why was it important to first clean house within the FBI and DOJ with those public info that was used? Why was it important to first clean house within other ABC agencies with non-public info? What are the duties of the FBI? They are the national police to go after criminals federally. What are the duties of the DOJ? To prosecute people based on the investigations by our federal police force. When does the military intelligence have jurisdiction? What vested powers does POTUS have regarding military intelligence versus ABC agencies in matters of national security? Anything to protect the homeland. Asking the question, the homeland? Think umbrella surveillance. What agency does the FBI report to? What is the role of the AG? What agency does the FBI report to? That would be the Department of Justice and the Attorney General. What is the role of the Attorney General? To oversee the Department of Justice and the FBI. Does the AG oversee the firing of FBI and DOJ senior, mid, lower level staff? How many FBI and DOJ were fired or forced? Does Russian recusal block the AG from this responsibility? Absolutely not. What do you guys think that Jeff Sessions was doing that whole time? 0 leaks. None. Transfer from AG1 to AG2, from Sessions to Barr? Why might that be important? How do you avoid politically motivated attack and obstruction, attempt to block or obstruct Mueller? Optics are important. When are optics not important? When you have a temporary position, think Whitaker. Define stage set. Who recently walked on stage to take command? What stage experience did this person have? Think Bill Clinton impeachment. Has the stage been cleaned and cleared for the next performance? If the stage is clean, can the performance begin? How might transparency, D-class, fit into the dialogue? Define thesis statement. What benefit does this provide Barr? This is not simply another 4-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. That was the POTUS. Logical thinking. You guys, we have been watching a grand play, the greatest movie ever made. Everything that has been done logically, methodically, and within the boundaries of the law. This operation has been conducted with absolute perfection. Nothing has happened that was not already thought of and planned for. We are in the end game right now. Ask yourself a very simple, logical question. What is a FISA warrant or application? Is it highly confidential, safeguarded product of the United States government? If a product of the U.S. government, how did the UK and Australia know what was listed inside of the package? Think about that call to POTUS to prevent the D-class regarding sources and methods. If the U.S. government requests that the UK and Australia, +2, to spy on campaign insertion on an American presidential pre-nominee and POTUS elect, is there a chain of command to approve such authorization? Paper trail of the chain of command and umbrella spy metadata? If not tasked and targeted under 5 eyes, what legal authority existed to engage the targeting? There wouldn't be any. Think Nunes' statement, not through normal collection gathering and reporting oversight regarding 5 eyes. Did the dossier provide the bulk data anchor for the spy campaign? Yes. What entity paid for the research dossier? The Hillary Clinton campaign. Opposition candidate? What U.S. ally completed the collection of false data? Why was it important to use sources within the UK and U.S.? How do you circumvent U.S. law? What other actors were provided to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court in order to gain the warrant? The D-class will show us. Was the other data collection and process worse than the dossier? Yes, that is the golden thing that Dan Bongino was talking about the other day. Why didn't the FISC require in-room presentations of the data prior to sign-off? Who signed apps 1 through 4? Who traveled to the UK and Australia post-election of POTUS? Why were security privileges removed from select formerly active individuals? Treason, sedition, corruption at the highest levels of government worldwide. How do you repair a bridge without closing it down? Ladies and gentlemen, we have just witnessed exactly how you do it. They started from the ground up, 1 brick at a time. And now we find ourselves at the precipice. Here we are, about to witness the D-class and about to see globally everyone will have the ability to understand the illegal nature of this operation and see who really was in charge. They went from the ground up and they took everyone out one by one, going up the rungs of the ladder. And now, finally, here at the end, we have the top people left in this food chain. They are going to be the ones who we see next to go. This was an illegal operation to remove a duly elected president of the United States. This was an attempted coup with the help of other nations and other high-ranking officials in the governments of other countries throughout the globe. These people will pay. These people will be arrested. Post number 2939, John Huber's team of prosecutors covering a wide range of criminal activity. And gives us an article for ABC News 4, prosecuting major criminals behind the badge with Utah U.S. attorneys. Sometimes reading between the lines provides, Huber says every one of the prosecutors is already handling about 20 cases. They range from domestic terrorism to court-authorized wiretaps of criminal organizations to crimes against children and those who would exploit our children, criminal aliens, big fraud schemes. Post number 2940, unusually high number of sealed indictments. And we have an update on the number of sealed indictments. 82,324 as of February 28th. February 2019 update to sealed cases, 5,832 new, 82,324 entered, 10/30/2017 through 2/28/2019, an average of 5,145 per month. And here is a link to those sealed indictments. I will provide that in the description below. Sorry, no heat map this month. A couple of our soldiers are down with medical ailments. Thank you, Anon. Note, not all are USA versus nothing to see here. Post 2941. Fact, Mueller's scope memo was never declassified, so how can Dees claim knowledge? Ted Lieu, in a status on Twitter, unlike the narrow scope of Mueller's investigation, the House Judiciary's oversight mission is broad. Did POTUS commit any crimes or misconduct? Our investigation will either exonerate Trump or it won't. We will follow the facts wherever it may take us. Hashtag Sunday Motivation. Oh, Ted. Read the comments. Those still asleep buying the narrow scope new narrative shift. If the scope memo was never declassified, version 2, how do the Ds make this statement? Facts matter. They don't know anything. That's the thing. Either that or they were leaked this and it's a criminal act. Next, Hillary Clinton says country is in full-fledged crisis. Full-scale attack. March Madness. Prepare. This was a speech that Hillary Clinton gave. I highly suggest that you guys check this out from this board, qmap.pub. Her affectation is very telling, and also the fact she's wearing a lot of eye makeup. It looks really weird. Post number 2943, when will Americans wake up to the D-Party con? Here is another Ted Lieu status. We cannot avert our eyes to the evidence plainly before us. My statement on the Judiciary Committee's massive investigation into real Donald Trump and his associates. I commend Chair Jerry Nadler and for his leadership and look forward to working with him. More statements made, evidence without presenting facts. If evidence existed under broad scope number 1, would Mueller have had the authorization to pursue? And then a link to that first authorization, I believe. The special counsel is authorized to conduct the investigation confined by then FBI Director James B. Corney in testimony before the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence on March 20th, 2017, including any links and or coordination between the Russian government and individuals associated with the campaign of President Donald Trump, and any matters that arose or may arise directly from the investigation, and any other matters within the scope of 28 CFR-S 604A. Because no evidence existed and or was found by Special Counsel Mueller, was Scope 2 enacted in an attempt to go outside of the intended engagement. Rod Rosenstein memo outlining the scope of that was released, but the actual scope, it was not itself. Why is scope number 2 classified only to AG, DAG, and a select few others read at terminal only? If evidence existed, why did R and D members of the Senate conclude no direct evidence exists? Because it doesn't. If evidence existed as per your statement released today, again, why did the Senate, Republicans and Democrats, just conclude that no evidence exists? When will Americans wake up to the Democratic Party con that is continually pushed without facts, without support, and supported and further pushed by the media arm of the Democratic Party, fake news media? Reading the comments on these tweets further demonstrates the seriousness of media brainwashing in our country, whereby statements are considered fact without the need to provide proof. Groupthink. Control the narrative. If enough people state the same thing without providing evidence and or support, does it become factual to those caught in the loop? National crisis. Oh, such a true statement. We are in the midst of a complete and total brainwashing of one portion of the country. There is no evidence, but these people keep stating it, and to them it is fact. because they don't know any better. There was a typo in the previous drop. Confirms the typo confined, but does not confirm the typo James B. Corny. Post number 2945. The opposition party is in a state of panic. Another Ted Lieu status. You should update your Twitter banner pic to properly reflect the crowd size when the event actually started. Have you ever witnessed a public all-out attack by the opposition party against the President of the United States? Those who would normally hide in the shadows are forced into the light. PANIC. Patriots in control. Ooh, yes. Democratic Party con. Enormous evidence of potential collusion. Oh, it shows this isn't a status from Meet the Press. In quotations, enormous evidence. There is no evidence. Another zero delta between our favorite Anon and POTUS. Let's take a look at that. That was from the enormous evidence. Presidential harassment by crazed Democrats at the highest level in the history of our country. Likewise, the most vicious and corrupt mainstream media that any president has ever had to endure, yet the most successful first two terms of any... Look at that. 702, 702. 0 minute delta. At what point is it statistically impossible? Post 2948. 7 seconds. We are getting closer to 0. How is that possible? Close proximity? Yes. They are right next to each other. 7 seconds. Meet the Press quickly deletes the tweet that Q referenced. Save page doesn't exist on Twitter when I tried the link. The power of the people. Tweet deleted. We are the news now. Chain Investigation Agency. Bakery Division. Blessed are the bakers. This is amazing. We're going to save that. Keck. Q. I go to click on the Meet the Press link and it says the page doesn't exist. The deep state is taking down evidence as fast as you are posting it. Nothing to see here. Q says, you are the news now. That's right. Next, meme of Hillary rocking in an insane asylum with POTUS laughing in the background. Let's take a look. President. Oh, this is the continuation. We are winning big, the envy of the world, but just think what it could be. This is great. Lanny and Cohen talking about lies. Huge political news. If the world was really a fair place and justice prevailed, lock her up. Hillary Clinton. What difference does it make? Tarmac Gate, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, DNC, deep state corruption, Russia, deep state panic, Gitmo. That is a wonderful gif. Oh my god, that is amazing. Look at that. Chew soap. Oh, that's great. Meme City in here. Oh, and look at that. Doug Richards posted this. Hillary Clinton's brother involved in Haiti gold mine. I actually had a guest about a week ago on my live stream who told us Libyan gold was being attempted to be laundered through Haiti. They were pretending that there was gold in the gold mines in Haiti. That what they did is they took the gold from Libya, they seeded it into samples from Haiti, and then it looked like there was gold in these gold mines. At least that's the theory. Now, he also noted to me in a private conversation that this obscure gold mine was passed over by many real professionals. Now, how could Hillary Clinton's brother have been such a sudden genius, somebody who had never been involved with gold mining before? What did he see that others missed? What mining experience or investing experience did he have prior to this? Was Haiti previously renowned for its gold deposits? Is anyone else having fabulous success mining gold in Haiti? Who? Where? They're not. That's the point. And he reminds us that Hillary had previously made a fortune investing in pork bellies, or some such in the stock market futures. 100 times her initial investment in just weeks. Then after her amazing success, she never tried it again. Not even a little. Yeah, because it was a setup, and the gold venture was going to be the exact same type of scam. Now, what I thought was particularly interesting is the fact that my guest had proposed this as a possible theory some 6 years ago on another program, and it's never really caught on. So now we've got Doug Richards actually making a meme of it and putting it out there. So I wonder if somebody, was watching this, or if Doug potentially was watching my program and heard about that and then put it together. But this is a great meme. Thanks, Doug. Next post, 2952, Representative Devin Nunes. We have never seen the scope memo that started the Mueller investigation. And then the last post, 2953, right on schedule. Mark Levin posts a tweet. See you tonight. Thanks on Life, Liberty, and Levin on Fox News at 10 p.m. Eastern. We've got even more posts. The Great Awakening. All right. I do not want to get a copyright strike, so I'm not going to play this, but this is a documentary that we've covered before in the posts and on my channel here. This is from Brandon Straka, the Walk Away campaign. If you guys want to red pill people who are not, coming to this on their own, then please show them this. This is a very powerful documentary. Look at this. Q sent me. This is great. So many. We're going to refresh. Okay, that's it for tonight, guys. I got to edit this video and get it out. It's probably going to be out after midnight. Well, guys, I think that's all I have for you tonight. This is going to be a fairly lengthy video. I just wanted to say thank you very much for joining me today. As always, I am Red Pill 78, the corruption detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.